Hi, this is Trevor Conquergood. Welcome to this week's RNK Software Club's video for the weekend. Our topic for this week is about the zoom and the pan tools. And so if you're ready to get started, let's go ahead and pop over onto my Floriani workspace. And first of all, what I might like to do is just visit my library over on the side here and maybe get an embroidery design. So we'll just look in one of the folders and bring something onto our screen. And so maybe I'll bring in this little collection of monogram borders here. And so first of all, how to zoom and then how to pan, or what is panning anyways, Trevor? Well, first of all, there's a tool over on the side here, right? And it's the magnifying glass. And when you turn it on, then you click with your left button to zoom in, and you click with your right button to zoom out. If I put my button over my cursor or the magnifying glass over the letter U and I click, it'll zoom into wherever I put the magnifying glass. And you can go, pretty far zoomed in if you keep clicking, right? And it tells me up here 5,800, or sorry, 5,284% zoomed in. But if I want to, I can pull this little drop down menu right here and go to any, go to 100% or go to actual size, or to fit my screen, is a popular one to fit my screen. That's 83%. It shows me in this little window. So when you zoom in, that will update, 165, and now it's 330%. And something else to know is if you double click right over top of the magnifying glass, it will fit to screen. So at any point in time. And when I said pan, notice that the magnifying glass has a arrow or a triangle below it. And if I click on it, there's another tool called the pan tool. Well, pan allows you to pick up your kind of screen and move it around. So they kind of work together. Like if you zoom in to this T and you're working on it, but now you want to see over to the side, you can use the hand to just move over there. And you can just keep, scrubbing around the screen while you're in this panning mode. You can just click and drag to move it around. And if you come back over to your tool, you can change back to the magnifier at any time. And now you're going to be back into that left click for zoom in and right click for zoom out. So those are some of the basics of panning and zooming. Another thing I want to say about zooming is I have a mouse with a wheel, and my wheel can cause it to get closer together or further apart. So wherever I put my magnifier, if I scroll the wheel, it does it for me. And so that's kind of helpful to have it. You don't even have to be in the magnifying glass mode. Notice I could be in the select mode and be selecting things. But if I use my wheel, it automatically zooms. And so my wheel is almost like it's dedicated as a zooming tool. And if you're having a hard time finding everything, double click on your magnifier, always kind of centers everything to your workspace again. Click on the empty workspace to let go. And so I'm using my select tool, and I can select something and I can zoom in on it with my wheel on my mouse. And I never even turned on my magnifier. And if I want to kind of reset myself and I double click on the magnifier, I'm still in the select tool. I didn't even turn on the actual tool of the magnifying glass. It's not until I single click on the magnifier that I choose that tool, where I can now left click to zoom in and right click to zoom out. But if I want to go back to using select, then I'm going to need to click on the select tool to go, out of using the magnifier. Yeah. So another thing about pan, sometimes I won't use this button at all, but I'll use my mouse to zoom in over top of the F. But then I might want to move over, and I'll hit the space bar on my keyboard. And did you notice that hitting the space bar made it turn into a hand? And if I click the space bar again, it goes back to my select tool. So space bar to turn on panning, pan on over to here, and then space bar to turn off panning, and I can use my select tool. Yeah. So that is some quick tips about zooming and panning. Now, one more thing about zooming and panning, and it kind of relates to digitizing. So when you're creating and you're using your digitizing tool, and maybe you have zoomed in to be accurate, because we often zoom in when we're creating shapes, whether we're drawing them or working on them. But if you click up your artwork tool right now and you start to draw a shape, and maybe you're going to do like an outline around your letter, and so you're clicking the points to draw your outline. Well, when you get down here, you're like, oh, I've run out of screen. And then you come over here and you have to use the arrows in Windows to nudge, nudge, nudge. And then you can keep going, right? So there's another sort of, that's also, I guess, panning, right? But it's panning while in the process of digitizing, and you get to the edge of the space and you need to go use those arrows to kind of click, click, click. Well, there is another way, just to say, and I'll right click and stop. It's in your program preferences. And when you are in program preferences, you would go on the environment tab, and down at the bottom, it says enable auto scrolling. And there's like a slow, medium, and fast kind of option for how fast it moves. And I'll turn it all the way up to fast so you can really see it go. But some people might like it better slow, just a little bit is fine, and so let's try slow first. Disable when in pen mode. So it'll work when you're doing click, 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 but not when you're doing click and drag. So if you have when you're using the pen and to click and drag, if you get too close to the edge, it won't move. But if you're doing click, 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 and you get close to the edge, it will move. So watch how it happens. So I use that same drawing tool, and I'm drawing around my shape. And as I get to the edge, all I have to do is come close to the edge and it starts to move. And that was slow, right? If I get close to the top edge, it'll move to the top. And so it took a minute to get there, right? When I got close to the edge, it's like it doesn't start moving right away. It takes a moment. That bothers some people, and so they don't like it and they don't turn it on. And that is totally your preference, right? Because remember, it's in the program preferences under environment. You can turn it on or off, and you can also speed it up. So if I make it go faster, then when I'm drawing and I get close to the area, I don't wait as long, and it kind of trucks along a little faster. And I get down to the bottom and it can move that way. Or so if you're drawing around a shape and you want to get really close to it, so let's just pretend we're drawing around this letter F, but we want to get really close to it and be super, well, that's okay. Don't be super accurate, but you could be as accurate as you wanted to be with placing your points. But when you get zoomed in, then you have to do more of the moving is all. And so that's where the ability to auto scroll is in your program preferences here. And if you don't like it, then you can turn it off. It's totally an option. And that is one of the best things about, I think, our Floriani program, is that those things are options and we get to decide, I guess, how to set it up. And so I hope you enjoyed this week's RNK Software Club's video of the week about Zoom and Pan. Until next week, have a great day and thank you very much.